Hi friends, shall we take a look at Tezos together? Why? I think we shall. I think we shall indeed. What do we have on the go? Let's just zoom right on in here and take a look at this, right? So we had a high come in here, and thankfully it came in with it being slightly, equal with this previous high, or perhaps, just poking its head above it, while we had the RSI move up higher and the stochastic. So the threat of hidden bearish divergence didn't actually materialize. Phew! And then we had this red candle bring us back down yesterday, and we actually pushed past the 21 EMA. We've not managed to, find support, particularly on anything, that I've already drawn out quite yet. But, we are higher than our previous lows. Staying above 1931 is going to be important for us in terms of closures. If we do have to move down, then 1900 is going to be the area, or 19,000, but really we don't want to see that happen because, of course, that's, just kind of triply bottomly. That would make this kind of look a bit like hidden bearish divergence, all that sort of crap. But we don't need that. What we're looking at here as well is this cross just happening while ADX has come down below 25. But really, this could potentially be the turnaround flux that you see in these times like we saw in the past so many times before. So do we see this, cross again and then resume its movement towards the top side with strength of the momentum? Well, of course, our top side target with this here is 20,700, really, where we have this orange line. Downside target is 19,050 or somewhere around there. Really, we want to see the prices ideally stay above 19,300 so we don't take out this low, and things could be going along okay overall. In terms of the 4-hour time frame, we've managed to do all of this without the divergence as well. We do have this cross over here, while this was above 25, so that would be the most negative thing. That happened over there on the 14th of October, just here as we drop down the way. So perhaps, this is the play out from that cross already. We don't have a volatility zone really screaming at us as we saw in the run up towards this area. We do have the convergence of the 50 simple and the 200 simple. We could potentially see these things do a golden cross here on the 4 hours in due course. It doesn't need to happen straight away, but let me just remind you that taking out the orange line now would also be, taking out that 200 simple at the same time, having come up here, tested it the once, then testing it again, testing that thing. So we've got confluence in here with these areas. Jumping over towards the USD prices, you can see that the 50 simple, 200 simple, much closer towards that cross that we were talking about just there now, but it's not actually happened yet. On the 24-hour time frame, you can see that this high that came in here, of course, is lower than the other high. As we in the past, at this point, this was part of the downward structure. So if we look at this as being a downward trend, just let me hide all the drawings actually, because I'm sure you're blinded by them. If we look at this as being a downward trend and see this high as being lower than this high, whereas the RSI shows it and the other oscillators show us have this divergence there, what you're seeing there is, of course, hidden bearish divergence, but that just becomes continuation and convergence if the trend is actually to turn around. And right now we have a low, high, higher low, and a higher high. So anything really, above $2.06 is decent, but we know that there's actually key areas to look to. For instance, of course, the 236 in there at $2.13 would be the where to stay above. And then the next target towards the top side is 252. Could we see these things happen? Well, we certainly could over the period of the next wee while. Will it happen immediately? That can't be said, of course, but what we're currently finding is that on this 24-hour time frame, we've got the 21 EMA just below us, offering up a degree of support. And of course, then up above us, where we have our previous highs, if we take those out, we'll be touching in here with the 50 simple moving average and trying to say that things could potentially be changing, at which point I'll be more than happy to hide my pitchfork, which I find rather ugly in the background, but it has to remain there because, of course, we know that since these August times that we've been in this downward trend. Taking out this area where the 200 simples coming in at the 786 Fibonacci retracement point on this sort of small scale one, which isn't so great. It's just a little small scale one, but of course, it gives us key targets. First off, we want to take out the golden pocket. That's going to be key because that's where that lines up with this 236 on a more significant time frame Fibonacci. But really, moving up past that zone there of the 786 where we have this 267 and the previous highs is going to be important for us in terms of not having this be considered like any sort of hidden bearish divergence. Now, of course, as well, we had this zone drawn in. We took it out before, we come back down, retested it. The zone isn't necessarily to the penny. Let's just see if we can get some sort of support in and around this area and move towards the top side. Maybe it's more accurately drawn in, something like that. I don't know. But let's see if we can push up past that zone, because that's going to be key for us in the next wee while. Let's see if there's anything more sort of jumping at us on these other charts. Well, of course, on 24-hour time frame, we did get that death cross, the very first death cross in terms of the history of this chart. chart, looking back the way. No, it's not. It's the second death cross. Sorry, I take it back. We had one back in 19. But we've had this here. So, and we've tested the 50 simple, okay? So if we test the 200 simple and then pull away from it, we've kind of got a confirmation of the death cross. If we test the 200 simple and then go above it and move on towards the top side, then what we have, of course, is is this sort of like failure of the death cross. As you can see, if I just zoom in here and show you what I'm talking about, some more detail. You've got this cross. Subsequent to it, you got to test the 50. Then you got to test the 200. It took it out. It found support. It moved up. It undid it. It failed the death cross. Then we had a golden cross. Tested the 50. Didn't bother testing the 200 for quite a while until we came down to here, and then we tested it, but continued to trend towards the top side overall. So this situation that we find ourselves in right now is obviously not ideal. It's clearly as a result of the drawdown since August. And of course, then we've got this sort of swing points that we're looking to. Can we push past them? This is where the 50 simple is. If we can, then good. If we can't, then of course, bad. And that's really kind of what we're looking at. Same story on that chart, of course, but just bear in mind, of course, where you can see the 21 EMA in, of course, like I said already, when we're looking at this thing, supported by the 21 EMA. I know there's loads of noise on this. I know there is. Supported by the 21 EMA, though, just kind of at the minute, will we see that? There's like little different dynamics on the different charts for this thing, depending on, how they've opened and closed. But as you can see, primarily looking like we're being supported by it. Now, we have moved outside of this zone of our, of these two blue lines. I'm going to get rid of this because, of course, this was just kind of telling you a narrative. In the meantime, what we're really looking for with regards to like the latest narrative is whether or not we kind of push past this area, which would be taking out our previous high at the very least, and that would be decent, and remain above this area so that we don't really take out of our previous low. We're still seeming to be going along inside this symmetrical triangle in the stochastics. While we did push outside of it on the RSI, we've come back down, and it looks like, we retested it here. Will we find support at this unusual line here? Why have I got that on there? Can anybody remember? Let me know in the comments down below if you can remember. Maybe it's from a different time frame. Want to see this be supported, though. I mean, as you can see, it's a support and resistance zone, generally speaking, in the past. Want to see us find it, our feet here, move towards the top side, rejected from the neutral line on our first pass, having broken out of this shape, sure. Potential for good stuff? Yeah, of course there is, as ever. Want to see us remain above our lows, really. We're very close to them at the minute. If we turn around from this point and go towards the top side, great. If we don't, not great. 4-hour time frame. So we're below the 50 here. Looking back, just to give you a quick reminder, coming in for a golden cross here on the dollar pair, and coming in for a golden cross there on that one, on all those dollar pairs. Sort of like potential for this at the same time on the Bitcoin pair. If we move above those key areas and those key, the key pivot points in the market. Same story here with Ethereum. If we move above this key pivot point with the green line, then we're moving above that, and we could then drag it up the way and come in for this cross like we see in the dollar pair. Will the dollar pair be the one to lead the way with regards to that sort of moving average technical analysis? I wonder. Looking at these two, yellow line and green line, they're about to cross again. But can we move up? Find support here and move up the way. It's what I want to see happen. We don't have the volatility coming in quite yet. Seeing here that we got this volatility with this shaded background area, it's never really a surprise. I'm talking about volatility. I'm not talking about anything else. So when you see volatility, which is like this up and downward movement, that's not so much of a surprise following on for this period. But it's given us, it's cracked the eggs. Now we can make the omelette. Let's just see if once this scramble here has kind of resolved itself, which way we start going, if that's going to be, an omelette or frittata or whatever. Right, cool. That's going to do for this one. I wish I had a sort of simple storyline to put out there for you to be able to follow along and say this is what's going. Of course, it's highly complex. I understand that. With regards to these key traffic light zones, it does kind of give you the simplified version of things. With regards to the dollar pair, we have this median line here and this upper line here on this thing, but we've got the golden pocket zone, the 236, all of that coming around about that area, taking out our previous highs. Staying above our previous lows would be kind of ideal. Suppose that's above $2.06, like I said, but really 213, staying above that. So I've said it all. It's in there. All of the answers are in there. enjoy. Catch you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in. And my name's Rocky Outcrop. Yeah, youtube.com/Rocky Outcrop. Share it with your friends. You know you want it. You know they want you to. Everything's a good one. Let me know how you get on. See ya.